pay no attention to that provocateur. Don't pay no attention to that Antifa. Don't pay no attention to the G-man with the G-badge that's working for the corporation for the breadcrumbs. Don't pay no attention. Just do your thing as an individual and say, I'm an American. I have my rights, my constitutional rights, and no one can take that from me. They are God-given, not man-given. And understand that you have the right to protect yourself. You have a right to carry a gun on your side, a rifle on your back, anywhere you go, no matter what. As long as you don't hurt someone else, you have any intentions to hurt someone else. That's why they make these laws just in case. No, there's no just in cases. We live in a free and open society. We had founders sacrifice everything that they had to make sure that we have these rights today. Imagine if the revolution went the other way. What would happen to Jefferson, Adams, Washington? What would happen to them? What would happen to their sons and daughters? What would happen to their farms? Well, first of all, Washington would have been hung. He would have been the first one right there in Philadelphia. They would have hung him right on the road, or Boston or whatever. They hung him from the highest tree for everyone to see if the revolution went the other way. And his children and his wife and his whatever would have been burned at the stake, tarred, feathered, whatever. And the farms would have been burnt down, and there would have been a King George statue put right there on their farms, okay? Saying, don't ever do it again. However, that didn't happen. Instead, Washington became the first president of our republic. And the founders, Jefferson, Adams, all throughout history, and we go all the way up to Andrew Jackson, the presidents that we talked about many times, they warned us time and time again about what was going to happen, how this was going to happen, how they were going to hijack our currency, how they were going to take control of us through their statutory criminal corporation that they have. And a lot of you just don't seem to get it. So I advise all of you, personally, as the host of this podcast with many following, tens of thousands following, listening. I see the stats for downloads and listens to this show, and we were on many different social media networks. I would say go to the Republic and understand the de jure system, understand the Republic, and reach out. Send an email to them and say, hey, what's this all about? Tell me. Go to the Republic's website and understand how we could have our country back lawfully. Because there is a way. The law is on our side. It's there. And the rest of the world understands it too, by the way. I just want you to understand that. It's just we stupid people here in America, the ignorant ones, don't get it. We don't understand it. Because we're too busy, what? Who's playing tonight? What's going on in the NFL? What's up? Well, we got NFL games playing tonight, right? That's more important. Then we could pack 60,000 in a stadiums all across the country every single Sunday, but we can't get 10,000 people up at Richmond to stand up for your Second Amendment, right? I say no, I don't think that's true. I just believe that we the people need to be inspired, and there are good people out there, and we need to get back to the foundations from what we were built upon, because if our foundations are built of sand, how can the righteous survive? We will sink and crumble no matter what. And today, that is what is happening here in America, because we are blessed with so many entertainment, so many distractions, so many feel-good scenarios, and so much entertainment, brainwashing things. They put poison in your water. Yeah. We can get into the deep rabbit hole all you want tonight. But the fact of the matter is, the law. We need to understand the law. We need to understand the Constitution. And we need to understand what that Constitution does for us and what those founders gave us, so we can move forward and do what? Stand up and say, hey, every generation needs a revolution. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Now, again, I do not advocate any type of violence by making that statement. That was a statement from one of our founding fathers. Okay? But if you read the quotes, and they gave us plenty of warning, it's kind of like the Bible. You know, you read the Bible, what have I told you? You know, read it from cover to cover. You know, it's there. It's right there in your face. Stop listening to the little voice behind you. Wake up. Wake up, stand your ground, and say, hey, I'm an American. This is what I stand for. I do not need permission from my government to do anything whatsoever. And I don't need to be regulated at all. When you understand that, and you can move forward and fully understand that, look, in a free and open society, we have a system here that is great, greater than any other system that has ever been formulated. Now, look, we got the debates on other internet podcast shows. Look, I had the Army National Guard on here last week. We had the NRA here on Friday, if you remember. Put all that aside, throw that out the window. Take a look at your life today and tell me if you really believe that you are honoring what those men, those women back then, those families back then sacrificed. Put on the table to sacrifice to make sure you have what you have today, even if it's just a little, even if it's a lot. Are you doing your due diligence out there? Are you performing as an individual? No matter what God you believe in, what creator you believe in, are you doing the right thing? And you wake up every morning and say, I don't have to worry about the story I told yesterday. It wasn't a lie. It's up to you to wake up. So now, again, Virginia, big thing, what's going on here? And everyone out there, press number 1 if you want to come on to the podcast. I invite a lot of people onto the podcast here tonight. And usually when I invite a lot of people, a lot of people sit back and say they just want to listen. That's fine. But this show, and I invited some other people also on personal friends of mine. And I'm going to tell you right now, anyone with foul language, just, try to curb your tongue a little bit, speak, an intelligent voice. So that, because there's a lot of people out there that are listening that, no matter what their beliefs are, that you may disagree with, that with using foul language, stuff like that. And it's just like next week when I have Dr. Peter Ventura on here, preaching a sermon, retrying the Lord Jesus Christ. We can't tolerate the debates, the arguments, the fighting, shouting over each other. I won't tolerate it. I don't care. Go someplace else. Go back. Go back to your cave. Go back to your hate. Go back to your personal convictions, because this show is not about that. We can talk here without using foul language, and I just wanted to put that out there because I did invite a lot of people that I respect, and I know they won't tolerate that. Just like last night, I was on another network. I invited a gentleman on who lived in Vietnam, helped the children, or to rescue a lot of people. I mean, put his life on the line. When they won't face it, they just walk away. They'll go away. They know what's right. They know the truth. They've seen it. They lived it. The phone number is 657-383-0616. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed that intro there. If you want to press the number 1, you press 1 on your keypad after calling in. 657-383-0616 is the number. We do have a chat room. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. I didn't set up the YouTube tonight, but we're there. You press the number 1 time, and I will connect you live, on screen, uncensored. And I'm kind of hoping also, I see a bunch of you already on here, but I'm kind of hoping that my friend from Colorado, I've got about 225 callers on the line right now. 207. I can only hold 250 live, and then you can't get in. So you have to wait for the next available opportunity. So you have to go and click on the link and listen after that. But got a little bit over 200 right now. Press 1. Private callers, I'm really skeptical of. Yeah, everyone knows that because I don't want to take away from the format of the show and listen to nonsense. So private callers, you know who you are. I've spoken to you privately. You know what to do, so I recognize who you are. Okay? So press 1 time, and I will get you on. So let's move with the first caller first. And 419, he's been waiting a while. He was the first one, actually, even during the intro, before the intro started. So I'll connect 419, get them on, and let's see what the show entails and what type of platform we begin with. And again, I'd like to try to stay on topic here, especially with this Virginia thing that's happening. I believe that we all need to call to arms, stand up for your Second Amendment right, peacefully assemble. Go there, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. If you're in the area, if there's so many there. We should have 50, 60,000 there easy. If we really are what we say we are and what we say or really truly believe what we believe. In this area alone, if we were calling country or throughout the country, we should have 1 million there easy. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. So, but the question is, where are you folks that are listening tonight? Where are you tomorrow? Where will you be? All right, 419, you're first. Go ahead. Welcome to the show. Understanding the times in which we live today. 419, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Joe. How you doing? Joe.
Thank you. Tuning in. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, how things going with you tonight? This is the Common Man, and I can maybe lift your spirits a little bit. I just had a little contact with quite a few folks down there, and the motel that they're in is standing room only. You talk about people getting up off their butts. We could use a lot more, but that was live video from Virginia. And the people from Ohio are there. I know most of them and had a good look. And I don't think I want to be the people in the crowd in the State House tomorrow morning. Wish I could have got there, but I was financially hindered and time limit is kind of out. And my ride didn't show up, but I damn sure wanted to be there. Just didn't work for me. So, but you'd be surprised of the support, and maybe we're not that far off the beam. It would seem like we'd have a lot more running down there, but what we do have there, it's a doggone good start. It's a good start. So we could use more, no doubt. And anyone out there, I've got my coat on, I've got my foul weather gear on. I ain't smelling the great. I smelling the greatest because I had some fella out there needed some wood. I loaded him some wood up today and gave it to him so he could heat his home. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to stand in the gap for each other. And I'm black as black can be. But I know what's right and what's wrong. And I know that I don't have any place else to go. So I better hold on tight to what's good and what's right, because this is all I got. And I'll be doggone if I'm gonna give it up or just let it continuously be whittled away. It doesn't make sense in this day and time and age that we've come this far to let a bunch of bureaucrats pit us one against another over stupid issues up now. And Joe, you mentioned that about the reparations, the dumbest idea I ever had. Why in the Sam Elliott would I allow you to give me 40 acres that you're going to tax me more money that I can't even pay the taxes on because I don't have a job? Why would you even consider this? And on top of that, you're giving me 40 acres of land that you can't sell to me because you don't own it, but you're going to take the taxation from it because we're the almighty government. And the only reason we want you to have it is because we're getting money off of you. I think I'll pass. You keep your 40 acres, you keep your mule, and don't come back to me with that nonsense because, you know, some of us are aware that it's a game from the jump. Now, what I would like them to do is go lay down in a corner somewhere and rest their necks, because all this talking is getting us nowhere. You know, Martin Luther King Day, that's a good thing. But we need to have something to whereas people of every race, creed, and color can come together on that one day. Maybe like put quite a few together, like Kennedy, King, Eldridge, Woodridge, whoever was looked up on as a good day of history that really did something, and just set a day aside and make it mandatory that everybody get out there and meet your doggone neighbor, shake hands, break bread, and let's get this country back. That would be what I'd like to do.
Amen, Mark. Amen.
I'm gonna let you have. I'm gonna let you have back at it. I done said my piece, and thank you, Joe.
Oh, yeah, welcome, Mark. Thank you so much. It's great. You know, you're absolutely right. And a man, I don't like people in that category of skin color and everything, but that's, you know, he said, I'm a black man, and it's great to hear a black man talk like that. That's awesome. We need all people. Amen to that. That's great. Awesome, Mark. I appreciate you. I really do. Please stay in line as long as you want. I'm scrolling down the numbers here, and I think I do see a number here that I did invite here. I spoke too early. All right, thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
But I'm from Ohio because boy, a bunch of my folks is down there.
I'll be. My folks is down there.
Hang on, Mark. Hang on 1 second, Mark. I want to connect.
A lot of them.
Here, Mark. I'll leave you on the line, but I think this is my friend from Colorado. Actually, I'm looking for his number because this is great. I always enjoy listening to the Republic. You know, people from the Republic, and they could really break it down to you. I believe this is him. I recognize the number. I've got 3 970s, but this I recognize the last 4. So let's connect. Is this Mr. Carpenter? Is this you?
Dr. Joe, good evening.
Yes, go ahead, Joe. Can you hear me? Yes, sir. Go ahead. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, Dr. Joe, for reaching out to the American people, for being a voice of reason in this time of confusion. And God bless you for your efforts and all that you've done continuously for a long, long time. You know, for tyranny to prevail, all it takes is enough good men to not get involved. And I encourage everyone to get involved. This is your republic. This is your country. It's your responsibility. Liberty has to come from individual responsibility. And through liberty, we then can have freedom. This whole thing that we're witnessing in Virginia is just a small part of what's going on in the whole world. The evil forces, and it's real easy, rule number 1 always applies, follow the money. They control us through enslaving us with their laws, their debt, their taxes, and that's how they control us. They keep us so busy working that we don't have time to stand up and to resist. They keep us so distracted that we don't have time to do our due diligence and learn the truth. So this battle in Virginia is not just about Virginia. It's about our nation. It's about our world. I'd like to go back a few years to when Bloomberg and Soros and their socialist friends came and bought the election in Colorado and changed our Congress and our representatives, and they changed our gun laws. And this was what I believe, in retrospect, the baby coming out of the womb. If they could accomplish that here in Colorado, then they took what they learned and they went to places like Virginia. And they're going on to places like New Mexico and Georgia and other states with their same agenda. So it just happens that finally the people are recognizing what needs to be done, and they're standing up. And Virginia happens to be the state where it's all happening. I am concerned. We have well-meaning people on both sides. We have law enforcement and military that have sworn to uphold the Constitution, but yet they've got orders that are against the Constitution, and they've got jobs, and they've got house payments to make, and car payments to make, and kids to put through school. And so rule number one comes back. Do they abide by what they're told to do, even though it's repugnant to their conscience, to the oaths that they swore to uphold and defend? And so these people are in a bind, but yet they have a job to do. So where do we draw the line? Which God do we honor? Which oaths do we honor? And it's clear that a double-minded man is of no good. He doesn't know what he's supposed to do. He's lost like his deer in the headlights. And this is what we're faced with today. And then on the other side, you have the community that understands that they have to stand up for their rights and that they have to be heard because their representatives are bought and paid for by the enemy. And so now you have a house divided against itself. And then you throw into the mix the anarchists that find this to be a perfect opportunity to set off the blasting cap, if you will, to start the ball rolling, if you will, so that they can have social upheaval, and so that they can spread their fear and their confusion and their agenda to subvert our Constitution and to take over our country. But I go back. All this needs is for enough good people to sit back and say it's not my problem. But it is everyone's problem. How do you steal a man's dignity, his self-respect? You take away his ability to provide for his family. You take away his ability to have a job so that he can succeed and better himself. And you put him in the welfare line, and you put him on the bread line. And now, rule number one applies. Follow the money. You have the haves and the have-nots. And the people that don't have it are dependent upon those that choose to give them a handout, because that's their only means of survival. And this is where they have us today. So people, be aware, this is just the beginning of the agenda that the people, rule number one, follow the money. The people that are using the Ukraine as their home country for international illegal money, for illegal incomes, for meeting their world agenda. And that's what we're seeing playing out with the Trump thing, is that these people don't want to be exposed as to their evil deeds. And Trump's sworn that he will do that. I have a little story I'd like to share with your listeners, Joe, if you'll give me a moment.
Yeah, sure. What the heck?
It was about in the 1980s that my father was a sergeant in a Department of Corrections facility here in Colorado. And this story comes from him through the camp secretary, whose son was a record driver, a tow truck driver in the mountains outside of Telluride, Colorado. And it was about Christmas time, maybe Christmas Eve, if I remember right, that this tow truck driver one night came across a stranded motorist. And he turned around and he went back and they had a flat tire. And they were dressed nice. And they weren't prepared for having a flat tire. So he changed their flat tire and sent them on their way. And when they offered to pay him for his efforts, he merely replied, "Merry Christmas." It was a couple of months later that the mother of this tow truck driver told my father that her son's mortgage had been paid in full by the occupants of that car. The occupants of that car were Donald Trump. That tells me the kind of man that Donald Trump is, because he wasn't involved in politics. He was only a compassionate human being that appreciated another compassionate individual and rewarded him for the service that he rendered with a joyful heart. You can say all you want about President Trump. He's only a man and he's not perfect. But that tells me a lot about who that person really is when the cameras aren't on him, when he's not trying to make a public statement. That's all he's trying to do for our country, folks. But he has to have our backing and our support lawfully and legally and morally, so that he can transition this corrupt system that we're in to liberty and justice for all. Pray for our country like you've never prayed for it. Stand up, be counted, shoulder the responsibilities of liberty, and enjoy the freedom that is the fruit of that tree. Thank you, Dr. Joe. God bless you. Have a good evening.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. That was a very powerful message that you brought forward there. I appreciate you taking the time to cue into the podcast here tonight. And I know you have so much information, and a lot of people would not fully understand that. But you touched on the iceberg of it, and a lot of people don't understand, what our republic is really supposed to be all about. And maybe we'll get some people on here who can maybe break it down for us. But thank you. I really appreciate that from Colorado. That's great. Yes, sir?
You'll get a lot of information if you go to Republic for the United States of America.com and log in there. There's tons of information that's fact-based. It's not opinion. And you'll be surprised at what you find there. Thank you for all you do, Dr. Joe. God bless. Have a good evening.
All right, take care. Thank you so much. That was someone from the Republic, actually, that I was hoping that would come on. And a lot of people don't understand the Republic. They don't get it. They just don't understand it at all. But maybe we'll see. Let's go to 912. Let's see, 912. Go ahead. You're live on Understanding the Times in which you live today. Go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing, Joe?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
All right, man. Well, what he just said, man, that was a lot of powerful stuff right there, man. I heard about the situation in Virginia, and the one thing that I would say though is that nothing's actually happened yet physically that should get everybody else up in arms, but everybody else should be alert to that situation. I don't think everybody should be up in arms and wanting to do something crazy just yet. But we should all be alert to what's happening over there just in case something does go wrong. But right now, it's pretty much a whole bunch of damn politics and political things going on. Nobody's doing anything physically yet. So what I would say, though, is that everybody watching that situation, you better stay in tune with that. You better watch it, because if they try to do a sideways move or whatever to take those people rights away to bear arms, then we should all get involved. But until that happens, we should just see how that pans out. because the reason that situation happened is because there was one governor or one mayor, whatever it was, in Virginia that wanted to like confiscate everybody's guns and stuff like that. It's just one guy, and we see how this playing out. But you know, I wouldn't want the rest of America to dig in too deep to that just yet. Just keep your eye on it. You dig, and just see what happens if the politics start overwhelming. You know what's actually happening. The politics start getting involved, or they're actually trying to take people's Second Amendment rights away in that country, in that state, then we should all get involved and be like, no, that ain't gonna happen. But right now, I don't think it's so much where everybody needs to lose their damn mind, everybody needs to start acting crazy and doing all this wild shit. Keep an eye on it, everything. Watch what happens, and if it starts getting to where we see it might be that it go left, then we should all get involved. But until then, don't let the media blow that shit up in your face to where you start doing irrational shit and you start acting crazy. Because the media has it so blown up in a certain way. Let's just, keep an eye on it. See what happens first.
Well, let me ask you this question real quick. Jace, let me ask you this question real quick, if you know, I don't mind. And I know the last individual I had on, that was someone from the Republic, and he understands, that we've talked about many times on this podcast here, the de facto, the de jure type of system of governments that conflict with each other, and we have two constitutions here in America right now, and most people don't get that, they don't understand that, and it's hard to break it down on a 2-hour show. And they don't understand the Federal Reserve Act, they don't understand the money changers and the global banking system of what's really happening and the control that these people really have over the market and the money that we spend every day and how we're controlled. Now, the black individual that was just on, he does understand that. However, this is one part of a phase that what they're trying to do, and he brought up an interesting point the last caller did, is they started in Colorado, and they got away with it in Colorado. If anyone knows about Colorado, that is a very free state. That is a state that is there's sheriffs there right now that they're so conflicted and upset about the red flag laws that they're willing to go to jail. Okay, I've mentioned this on my podcast before. Eagle County, Colorado, Weld County, Colorado, the sheriff Stephen Reeves, he went on Fox News and said, look, I don't want nothing to do with these red flag laws. I'm not going to enforce them. If I'm told to, I'm willing to go to jail if I have to. Now, that's sacrifice. That's from a sheriff, a duly elected sheriff in the public there that's saying that, Colorado. And the thing of it is, what I'm trying to say is that if they were able to get away with that in Colorado, now they're trying it in Virginia. Why in Virginia? What's going on? Why is Virginia so important? Well, we know the Commonwealth of Virginia. It has a lot of history with this state of Virginia.
Hold on, what did it get away with Colorado, though? I'm not privy.
Well, in Colorado, they did pass the red flag laws that are.
Break it down to me, because I'm not really up on all of this stuff yet.
The red flag laws are basically this. If, for instance, you're my next door neighbor, and I don't like you. Say you and I disagree with the grass clippings flying over to your lawn. I don't like you, and I'm a dirty person. I'll go down to the courthouse down there and make a complaint saying you own a bunch of guns, which you do. Okay, just say, and you may be a threat or imminent danger to yourself or the community. What they do is what they'll do is they'll take that statement, go to an administrative court, and they'll go before a judge, the prosecutor will, and say this complaint was made, blah 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 blah, bang bang bang, and the judge will sign a confiscation order for the sheriff to go out there to your home and knock on your door and say, sir, we're here with a warrant, we're here to confiscate your firearms under the red flag laws of such and such a state, which happens to be Colorado at this time, what we're talking about. And what they do is they confiscate your guns forcefully. You must turn them in, or they will. But sometimes actually, they'll kick your door down in the middle of the night, depending on the department or the municipality that's enforcing these red flag laws.
Okay, yeah, I don't know that.
That there is totally unconstitutional.
So how many people in Colorado has been actually had to deal with that in Colorado so far?
I'm not 100% sure, but they also have them in Maryland. And Maryland, there's been, I think, 6 deaths already. The first death, actually, I was made aware of right away, where they showed up, and the guy said, "What are you talking about? You taking my guns?" And it ended up where the guy was shot and killed. So
yeah, all the states you're talking about are pretty much blue states, except for Virginia.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Virginia is actually their governor was the one trying to do it. Yeah. So all these blue states, basically the Democratic people are the ones causing this ruckus. That they're doing this stuff. Because like I said, I'm in Georgia, brother, and our governor. Now, if we would have had Stacey Abrams that would have got elected in the last election, our guns we'd have had the same damn problem. But fortunately for us, we had a Republican that actually won it, and he's all for the guns. He's all for all this stuff. He's a Republican, so when he ran, we were great down here, but I don't know. All these blue states, bro, they doing the most. They trying to take everybody's damn guns.
Well, you're correct. Stacey Abrams, that's a total whack job right there. I mean, that got elected.
Oh man, we'd have been ruined. She was running on guns. Actually, that was one of her main things.
Yeah. You would have been in trouble down there, brother. Let me tell you.
Yes, sir.
Stacey Abrams got in there. But the whole thing of it is, though, is the constitutional thing of this is that they have a hearing behind your back without you being present to defend yourself. And you see, that totally goes against what really a republic is about. You're able to defend yourself. You should be able to stand before your accusers and defend yourself. And you don't in these red flag laws, for these red flag laws. Now,
I understand. Yeah, I understand
right there, that's terrible. I mean, imagine if I just don't like you, and I live in Georgia, and I make an accusation about you, and they haul you up and throw you in jail, whether it's over guns or not. If it's just over the color underwear you wear, or like it's the most communist countries. What do you do? How far does this go?
And this is the part that I say. And that's when I say, Joe, like I understand, I agree with you completely. This is what the part that I say that America cannot. We have no damn right to be upset about this, because no matter what color did what or who this and that, the American people as a whole, they voted for these whack jobs to get in here in the first damn place. We're like, we allowed them to grow this big. We allowed them to be this powerful. The American people fucked up bad, my dude. We really fucked this whole. We allowed them to get way too.
Hang on. Just please, just watch the language though on the podcast tonight. It's just a lot of people have been complaining, and with all due respect, everyone, that. And I know we get emotional, we get hyped up. Because I have some guests on tonight, and please, with all due respect.
No, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, well, like
Georgia.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
No, I wanted to know what it is. You said you got this Republican governor down there. How is it down there in Georgia? Can you give us some intel down there in Georgia and what's their perception of the Virginia thing and what's going on, if you don't mind?
Oh, well, as far as the Virginia thing, like I said, you got a Democratic governor or mayor, I don't remember which one of it, but you got a Democratic person up there trying to do this, to confiscate guns. But Virginia, they're not having that. Only problem is, though, the main people that I see fighting against it, are, it is a regular around-the-way people, but, most people don't see the severity. But in Georgia, bro, we good. Ever since this Republican mayor got voted in, besides Stacey Abrams, he actually made a damn commercial, he made a commercial, bro, that was like, I got my guns in the truck, I'm hunting down illegally. He made a commercial like this. He's real Georgian to the heart. He loves to go hunting. He likes to have guns, but he don't like nobody coming in his state and just leeching off. He don't like that stuff. We all right down here right now, though. Now, if she would have got elected, if Stacey Abrams would have gotten in, man, we'd be in a bad spot. But he got elected, dude, so everything is right. From what I know, brother, in Georgia, you're still able to ride around with a shotgun in your truck or a rifle. Maybe the handguns are a little different. You can't have a concealed weapon without a permit and stuff like that. But, we can ride with a shotgun or a rifle in your vehicle. You okay? Georgia's still good as far as I know.
Well, we were talking about that, Jason, real quick. Before I get to other callers here, and I may bring 970 Arnold again if he's still available. Explain this thing that we've been talking about. Where I know you've been on before. I know some other people that I see that have been on before, and I've always praised the Republic and what is lawful and the Constitution, understanding the fact that we have two constitutions right now, and understanding the true history, and that's why the last government, promoted the republic, and that's very important because we can restore our republic lawfully and re-inhabit our government, our country through the republic lawfully. It's there. The law is on our side, and I would maybe
too. I'm for the republic too, but the only part I don't like about the republic is we have way too many laws. I don't like there's way too many laws. I want to put that down a little bit. I want to get it back to a simpler time where, you don't have to worry about doing something very simple in public and somebody calls the law on you and you get arrested. Like, there's too many right now. There's too much going on with laws that we need to fix all of that. That's my only problem. I love the republic, but I love all they stand for. It's just the law part I have a problem with. There's just too many laws. You can go to jail for spitting on a sidewalk in Georgia in another county. Like, it's too much, and we gotta get something.
And the traveling issue and stuff like that. I understand that.
Yeah,
travel. I know we got into a discussion. I got into a discussion last week about that with an individual. He came on. He called himself a professor, and he broke it down perfectly about the Transportation Act and everything, and the right to travel, and how they regulate people. And then he had a discussion, I think, with another fan that calls into the show, where he said the individual that called in said, well, we need to have these laws. We need to have people with driver's licenses and stuff like that. And we, and it spun off into something about where what really the republic is about and what it stands for. And it's really, we're a free society, and regulating like you just said, you spit on the sidewalk, just for the heck of it, and a police officer sees you, you could be cited or hauled up into jail. Now, did you spit on someone? Did you hurt someone? No. Should there be a law there saying you can't spit just because you may do that? And these are the things that we get into. I think that's what you were trying to get to. A lot of these laws shouldn't be in effect and whatnot. So,
laws are very necessary. Some of them is just stupid. Some of them got to go.
Well, that's where we get into that sticky wicket situation. Yeah. Well, what is the common law of man? What is the common law that we should respect?
That's pretty simple. Don't kill your neighbor. Don't rape nobody. Don't touch on children. And don't be out here trying to sell dope to your community. I mean, that's other than that. Like, what is the problem? I don't understand. Like, what the problem is. Don't.
Common sense. It's common sense, right? I don't know if he's still on here, and I'm scrolling down the numbers. I did also invite my friend here, Mitch, on the podcast. He lived in Vietnam, actually. Well, he went to Vietnam, and he was in Africa also, did a lot of missionary work. I don't know if he's here or not. Mitch, question number one, if you're here, Mitch, I don't know. I know you sent me a private message, and he works with a lot of world leaders. He's been on Sean Hannity. He's been on the Glenn Beck Show. InfoWars. This guy he's really a great guy. He's a good person. He's out there and he's putting his life on the line. And he basically battles the organ harvesting thing, the Falun Gong thing, and China. And if I can get his perspective on side, that would really cap off the show awesome. Because Mitch has been around the world and he has put his life on the line. This is a guy who's been there behind not just a tourist, somebody who was, fighting against the bad people in these countries. So, his testimony would be, someone like that would be great. I don't know if he's on the line or not, but let me see if 97 wants to say anything else here about that. Maybe talk about the Republic, maybe speak about the Republic and what the Republic is, what it stands for, and what we were actually founded upon, which is the Republic. If he wants to expound on that, let me see if I can scroll down here. I'm way down here. Oh, okay. 970, Mr. Carpenter, if you're still there, if you want to come back on, I'll unmute your mic. If not, I understand. Let me see if he's there. Mr. Carpenter, are you still there?
Okay, go
Thank you, Dr. Joe. You bet I am.
I'll be there.
Good conversation. First off, I just want to plant a seed. How do you legislate common sense and morality? You can pass all kinds of laws. That doesn't mean that people possess common sense and morality.
Oh, come on.
Where we deviated from common law, which is law in common, as the gentleman before me spoke of, is you just use common sense. You don't rape people. You don't traffic in human bodies. You know, it's just common decency. But when Lincoln inherited the presidency, he did not have a constitutional quorum to govern according to our Constitution. So he was left with no option but to establish by executive privilege a corporation registered in the state of Delaware. And if you have access to Dun & Bradstreet, you can go and look up United States of America, Inc., and they have a credit rating. They're a corporation. And later, I believe it was the 20s, there was a U.S. court case, Bidwell, and the Supreme Court ruled that there are two governments for the United States. One is not active, which is guaranteed by our first treaty, the Jay Treaty, to have a republic in perpetuity, which is a representative democracy. So that had been vacated, and Lincoln, through the Northwest Ordinance, was repopulating the representatives of the republic to get out from underneath the corporation. Our law form at that time went from common law to admiralty law, which is codes and statutes. In 1871, when this happened, we only had 12 constitutional amendments on the books. So part of the challenge that the American people face is that the only lawful way to address this situation is to re-inhabit. And you can go on the internet, go to reinhabited.com. You can buy 2 books, book 1 and 2, directly from the authors. It'll cost you $49 for both books. And they received high acclaim from people like David Martin and others that are very respected leaders. And it's a good place to start to understand the truthful history of our country and the efforts that the American people have made since 2010 to reestablish the lawful existence of the republic. And that is recognized by 190 countries in the world as being the lawful government, but not necessarily the government in power. You have the corporation, which is in power, and they have adopted, through the UCC law, codes and statutes. In admiralty law, you're basically guilty until proven innocent. So that's the gold fringed flag. That's the flag of war. And that's the 501c3s that fly in our churches that turn my stomach, although I do go to one, because I don't have an option. Because I know the difference. So, you're right. Common law is very simple. You have to have a moral compass. Our forefathers said this form of government is for a moral and just people. Not for a bunch of lawyers that are trying to get away with anything they can. And that's where we're at today. We've lost our moral compass. We've got lawyers that are never supposed to serve public office directing this ship to their benefit, and rule number 1 always comes back in play. Follow the money. And so,
where is the Governor? Can I ask you real quick, Governor? May I ask you? I got a couple questions in the chat room. Someone asked me. They said, "Where is the capital of the USA?" What is the capital of the USA? Basically, maybe. I said, please watch that.
that 10 square mile area known as Washington, D.C. is not, that is the capital of the corporation. The republic has not been and so we don't have a Republican capital. Does that give you a good explanation, Joe?
Well, actually, one person said that was when you were talking about Virginia, about the gun laws, and why in Virginia. Basically, I think they want to ask, why in Virginia? Why in the capital of Virginia, I guess. I think that's what they mean.
Well, let's go back to some issues that were brought up earlier about Colorado. When Bloomberg and his cronies came in and bought the elections several years ago, they chased a lot of gun laws. They made anything over 10 round magazines illegal to present or to buy. Although they did grandfather them in for the people that previously owned them. They made private transfers of firearms illegal. Now, I can't even have a friend come and go hunting and loan him a weapon to go hunting or to go out target shooting because I would be violating the law because he hadn't been checked out by the proper authorities and granted permission by the state to handle a firearm. So these firearm laws in Colorado greatly changed and influenced our society in the way that we handle our firearms here. And basically, go back to admiralty law, you're guilty until proven innocent. So you're guilty of being an idiot that's not capable of handling a firearm respectfully until the state reviews you and says, oh, well, you're not guilty, so you're proven innocent. Is that clear enough?
Yeah. And someone's asking, and last time I had you on the show, really, because you're the governor of the free state of Colorado. People just don't, they can't distinguish that. They say, no, the real governor is this. No, the real governor is that. Can you expound on that for some people so they can maybe clarify that, maybe make up a light bulb in their head of exactly what we're talking about here?
Well, we went back through the help of the white hats, the good guys in government, military people, back in 2010, we came together with representatives from each state and found that we had a congressional quorum, according to the Constitution. And that quorum allowed us, according to law, the opportunity to appoint and to elect interim officials according to the Northwest Ordinance. Those officials are 5 people. That's a governor, a chief justice, 2 senators, and a representative. And with that, then we became a representative of states. And a quorum of states, meeting those qualifications, came together, drew up a document known as the Declaration of Sovereign Intent. Here's what it says, intent. We intend to re-inhabit our constitutional guaranteed representative republic. And so it takes temporary officials like myself to stand in the gap so that all Americans, this is your republic. It's just that maybe you haven't been told about it. Maybe you're not aware of it. And so our basic dictates is to educate, to hold the seat of governance as a lady in waiting until the people stand up in mass and accept the fact that this is an opportunity for them to lawfully get rid of the people, the slave owners, if you will, because they enslave us through a birth certificate. That's what guarantees the national debt. That's why they ignore the immigration laws, because we're not producing enough offspring to support the national debt. So they bring in young breeders from all over the world and put their birth certificates up as chattel against for the national debt. And that's documented, easy to find out. Fidelity is where those birth certificates are traded as commodities. And so republic rather than a house divided against itself by a two-party democratic system. Now, I'm not saying that the republic is not democratic, because the people get together, they vote and elect their representatives, their officials, and that's a democracy. And that's, but it's not a two-party system, because a house divided against itself cannot stand. One of the news commentators a few weeks ago said, if this is the end result of a two-party system, then the two-party system has failed. And I think that's self-evident. So, if we don't, as Americans, stand up lawfully, peacefully, and do what's right, when this house of cards collapses, and if you follow the financial markets, the UK, the United Kingdom, is exiting the euro at the end of this month. China's banks are failing all the time. Deutsche banks in Germany, for a lot of these derivatives of that part, are failing every week. The Federal Reserve is pumping hundreds of billions of dollars into our system to keep it afloat. But when all of this house of cards collapses, and they've been telling you we're bankrupt for how many years?
Yeah,
Well, they're telling you in advance. They're telling you in advance. So, look at the law. If we don't have a government here in the United States, when this collapses, then the UN has not only an opportunity, but they have an obligation to come in and take over our country and establish their rule of law. So, by getting the republic up and re-inhabited so that the American people have a place to come, now we have a government in waiting so that the UN doesn't have the legal, lawful responsibility and opportunity to come in and establish their rule of socialism for our country. I can't stress enough how important it is for the American people to take time to get educated. I thank you, Joe, so much.
Hey, Joe.
I wanted to thank you. Yeah, I wanted to thank you. Yeah, I wanted to thank you also. And so people that don't know, there's a lot of new callers that just joined us. You have to understand that the Republic is recognized through 190 countries globally right now. They're recognized. Okay, and he explained that with the corporation and the Republic. Go back and listen. Okay, so you need to understand that. So this is the government that's there waiting, because your government right now, your corporate government that you're contracted into, it will collapse. They're telling you. They've told you you can't pay the national. We're $22 trillion in debt. What happens? What happens when the Federal Reserve note is no longer that reserve currency around the world, and our military might around the world can no longer enforce the imperialism of the corporation? What happens? And like you said, it's an obligation of the United Nations then to do what? Come in and take over. And they're already setting the stage for that. And they're already setting the stage for the global reset. I don't know if you wanted to go into that or not, if you had time.
Hey, Joe, I'd like to add a little something.
Make people understand.
Nothing lives in a void, Joe. When this thing goes down, we have to have a way to do international trade. We have to have a monetary system in place. And so, years ago, the world started working on an alternative system. It's known as QFS, the Quantitative Financial System. And what they're doing is they're transitioning to worldwide to an asset-backed currency. And every country's currency has it based on an even playing field, above ground resources, proven below ground resources, infrastructure, so on and so forth. And through that matrix, then that country's currency has a value established to it. And they'll take and go into this quantitative financial system, and the world will do their transactions through this global financial system. This is not the one world currency that End Times Revelation speaks of. It's a fair and just and equitable way for the countries of the world to have lawful value to their currency instead of good faith and promises by a bunch of mafioso crooks.
Hey, Joe, can I get a word in?
Financial system. Yeah.
Joe, can I get a word in?
Number one, always applies. And so, what did Donald Trump say when he took the oath of office? He said, unlike other elections, this is not so much a change of administration, but a change of power. And I'm here, voted in by the people, to give the government the power back to the people. He is our transition president. He is a successful, knowledgeable businessman that has been charged to turn this ship back to the people that are moral and just, that have a moral compass, that understand the difference between good and evil. And this is what we're seeing playing out. We're in a battle, and you're watching Hong Kong say, Mr. Trump, come set our country free. You're watching the Yellow Vest revolting against rule number one, the money handlers, the people that enslave them. The world's crying out for freedom, for self-rule, for self-governance. And so much of this hinges on the number one power player, and that's the United States. But things are moving. And for those of you that haven't been made privy to this, you can Google it. Russia's government resigned in full last week.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even know that actually. Yeah, and people don't. Yeah, and people don't understand. They don't get it. And I opened up with this because America is the superpower globally, and you're right. The rest of the world is crying out, and Trump is the only qualified businessman who has done world trade, world stocks. And I mean, for God's sake, the guy is knowledgeable in this field. You know, and people don't get it. But, you know, and what the new, these evil people doing, these bankers, these international bankers, and look, he brought China to the table. China. Who would have thought that 10 years ago? As the evil government of China, because China knows what's going on. But you're at the reset, the global reset of the world economy. These people are telling you on your Fox News, but you're not paying attention to it because you're worried about who's going to win the Super Bowl. You know,
Well,
people don't get it.
You're not privy to the buzzwords. It was a couple of years ago that the financial markets were tumbling and having losses. And the news reported that it was because of concern about the emerging markets. Well, to the average person on the street, what the heck does emerging market mean? Well, emerging market means certain countries in this world that are sweatshops for the controllers, the bankers, are going to have their currency revalued. And now instead of working for slave labor, they're going to have a living wage. And those people are going to be encouraged to stay in their country and to contribute to the greatness of building their country and making their country what it can be, instead of us importing all the most brilliant minds all over the world and having a monopoly on it, let everybody else suck hind's hit. Excuse my language.
Yeah. Well, Governor, listen, you know, you get people that still don't get it and they don't understand. Like, I'm getting messages right now. The real governor of Colorado is Jared Polis. You know, now he's the governor of the corporation.
That's the corporation of Colorado. The people that accept the republic, that have gone in and put their name on the line and said, we support the reinhabitation process of the republic, and we need a representative government. And those people, by lawful vote, voted me to be their representative of the free state of Colorado. So you can go on the website, coloradorepublic.org. You can go there, you can get into the national website. So we're an interim government. We're not the government of power. We're the lady in waiting, your golden parachute that keeps the UN from coming in and giving you their form of government. And it's only good if you accept it. But it's theirs for your taking and your acceptance if you so choose. And nobody's going to force you to accept it. It's your choice.
But that is so important, what you just said right there. Nobody's enforcing anyone. No one's forcing anyone to accept it because the facts are there. The Republic outlines the facts. The law is there for research. All you got to do is do your due diligence. It's there. Those are actual laws. This is what the founders actually intended, the Republic. But we lost our way. And the Republic explains that. And you can go to your library, you can go to any courthouse and go to a law library and look this stuff up. It's there in black and white, right there.
Google it.
Hey, Joe.
Two governments in the United States.
Joe.
It's Stilwell. I can't remember. It's Stilwell and something else.
Oh,
But that
bullshit.
Supreme Court ruling. It's on the books. There are two governments in these United States. One at the time was not active. But it doesn't mean it wasn't there. Your car is sitting in the driveway, but unless you get in it, start it up, and drive it, it's only sitting there. You have to get in it and use it. And we're giving you that opportunity. Or you have the choice to sit back and do nothing and find fault. And the UN will come in. And it'll tell you what to think and what you're going to do. And if you don't think you like your reality today, wait until that happens.
Amen. That's right. Yes. And you see what's happening. They have to get rid of your guns first. They're going, and that's what they're doing. Now, will this happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now? People say, and they don't get it. The reality of it is, it's happening right before our very eyes. The first step is Virginia. Whether or not the laws are enforced right now, and they're actually doing it, that does not matter. The point of it is they're talking about it, and that should wake you up right then and there. So do you not care about your children's future? Do you not care about your grandchildren's future? Yes, maybe you won't see it in your lifetime, folks, the people that are messaging me. Well, not in my lifetime. Well, again, you don't care about your children? You don't care about your grandchildren? What kind of person are you then if you don't care about that? Surely there's enough good people out there who understand what I just said.
Well, Dr. Joe, those people that don't expect to see it in their lifetime must have a lifetime expectancy of less than 30 to 90 days. I'm going to put it out.
Maybe we shouldn't shove that. Maybe we shouldn't tell them that right away, because then because we're trying to wake people up here.
We're that close. We're that close. The banking system's failing. They're taking our guns away. They're infringing on our constitutional rights. They're feeding us. You know what a mushroom is? You're kept in the dark and fed SHIT. And that's what they're doing. They're not reporting on the news that Russia just had a complete meltdown in their government. They're focusing on Nancy Pelosi and a fake impeachment. They're feeding us the SHIT. They're keeping us in the dark because they don't want us to know the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. And we could all acknowledge that. The people on the phone line here tonight, I went up to 250, dropped down to 195. That's fine. And, it keeps going up and down. And the people in the chat room and the people on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn that are messaging me right now. I know some of, I can't get to all your messages. I apologize. I'm one person here, one guy trying to do all this, just trying to wake you up. And the governor here is giving you the website to go to. You can ask questions. You can go in there, type in, email them. They'll get back to you. They'll respond to you. They'll say, hey, this is what aired. If you're having trouble understanding, we get that. That's not a problem. But look what's happening in Virginia. Look what's happening. It's happening right before our very eyes. We see how sick are. And then you got people, though, Governor, real quick. I know you might have to go. I know you said we're having people over and having a barbecue. I wish I was there. But the people that say, well, they were talking about this 30 years ago, the New World Order, the collapse and everything, and it never happened. Why should we believe it's going to happen today?
This isn't the New World Order. We're not there yet.
Yeah. But are we seeing a point in collapse today? Yes.
Yes, they've been talking about it for 30 years. This is no small undertaking. You don't turn the ship around on a dime. And if we did, there'd be so much collateral damage that there wouldn't be much of the United States left. We have to do it gently. We have to do it with compassion. We have to do it so that the people have a chance to accept their new reality, so that they can understand what their new place is in life and how they can operate this new system. This is not going to be a light switch. It has to be done to mitigate the damages. When this was first presented to the American people as an option back in 2010, 2012, the word came to me from the highest sources that the American people were not yet ready to accept their new reality. And so, my information.
Well, I made that statement actually, Governor. I told a lot of people that I said, you know, the highest sources they came out and said, hey, what if? Well, you know, they're not ready for this. I mean, you imagine a general getting on your 6 o'clock news saying, hey, you know, the Federal Reserve shut down. This is it. We're doing this. We're going to do this. You know, we just arrested these people in Congress, this person in the Senate, and this president, and we're taking control of this, and we're reestablishing this. What would you do? It'd be chaos in the streets, right?
They freak out. They freak out. And so what we're seeing.
Mark, I thought you had a question for Joe.
Information.
Yeah, Joe ain't.
They're allowing.
Joe's not cooperating.
The socialists that seek to control this country.
Yeah, you'd have to call in by phone.
To feed us.
He's busy with the governor-elect.
To the point
That's
where
who's speaking now, but.
And the American
You know,
people
Joe said, I'll keep you online so you can
system's
speak.
broken, but we don't know how to fix it.
Since we're with the governor there,
So
I
that's
want
all
him
I'm
to
trying
find
to
out
share.
about that case
Buy
in
the
the
book,
Supreme
do
Court.
your research, and then come and tell me
But
where
then,
I've
you know,
erred in what I've shared.
he ain't
And
going
until
with that.
then, all you have is an opinion, and I'm standing on facts.
Yeah. Well, you can't put you're absolutely
Anyway,
correct. I always tell
I
people
don't
that
think he
show me
got
the
us
facts,
like
man. Let's go to the wall library together. You know, let's go to the public library, wherever you want to go. You know, we don't have to Google. You
We're
want to
the
say
only
Google
ones
School
that's
Prep?
listening
That's
to
fine.
Joe
We can do that
on
too.
Wake Up right
You know,
now.
let's
I
go
didn't.
and look at physical
I
archive
didn't
evidence at the
get a whole
Library of
bunch of
Congress.
people
Let's
on
look at the
Wake
wall.
Up this time to
You
hear
know,
it.
let's look at the wall, and I'll show you where the
He
United
keeps
States
going
is
about let's look
I'll
at the
show it to you
law.
black and white. You know, well, how come
I challenge
you approach
and
these people? Look,
he
these
don't
people
want to.
are making
He
tons
don't
of
want
money.
to put that
They're
on there.
ripping you off. They're stealing from you every day. You think they want you? They want this house of cards to fall? No. They're
About my son.
But they know that the Federal Reserve banking cartels out there.
His mother was a hit person for the
they're the ones that are pumping this fake house.
I can't hear you over Joe.
On top of you one day.
Oh,
But in the meantime, they got to take your gun. They got to take your liberties away because it's easier for them for their
yeah.
plan.
She was a hit person over the Clintons.
Yeah.
For the
Exactly.
Clintons.
As long as we can defend ourselves.
No one
we gotta
expected
fight
this
the
pretty little girl to come up and shoot him.
as soon as we can. Yeah.
But that's what she
We're done.
did. So
We're
she
done.
lost her
Right.
mind and
Yeah.
she died
It's so much easier
last year.
to keep what you have
Huh.
than to go back and get it
The
back.
son came back either yesterday or the day
Absolutely.
before. I've been up a long time, so I really don't know.
Amen to that.
But he
That's
was
right.
here and he's looking good.
That's what
He's
we're doing is
saying
giving
what's
the American people
He tried to blow up Elijah
to
School.
keep their freedom and to keep their liberty
Okay.
rather than
Yeah,
have to
so
go back.
it was
try
so
to get
good
it
to see
back.
him again. I know he's still dangerous,
There's
but
people that are out there saying, well, we're
You know,
losing
you
our
gotta
liberties
watch him
every
closely.
single day. Well, you're absolutely
But
right.
it was
This is their
damn
plan.
good
This
seeing
is
him. My
their
whole
agenda.
week
They
has
are
been
taking
good.
him away. Duh. You know, and I can't argue with that. You know, are we free in America? No, you got to have a driver. You got to do this. You're absolutely right. Are we free today like we're supposed to be free? Of course we're not. We're not free like we were 50 years ago. You know, and times change, people change. No, nothing changes. The Constitution is the Constitution. We're a free and open society. We're a republic. The only thing that changes is that we lose our rights more and more every day.
The only thing that's changed, Joe, is the public's perception.
Yeah, true.
The public doesn't have the same perception that they did 50 years ago because we weren't told the truth. We weren't educated in the way that we could be productive members of society. They stole our manhood. They stole our ability to provide for our families. They stole our liberties and our freedom by one little
Hey, I gotta run
at a
somewhere
time
real
that was
quick. I'll be back in about a
unconstitutional, but
half
we
hour,
did stand
45
against
minutes.
it because,
He should be
well,
gone by.
we're a
Okay,
two-party
I'll be here.
democracy, and that's the
All
way
right.
it's supposed to be. No, we're supposed to be a representative government where we elect a representative to go speak for us. That's a representative republic.
And what we got today is a democratic form of system, which I always tell people, democracy is two wolves and a sheep voting on what for dinner. You know, they don't get, you know, and they still just don't get it. You know, it's like they still just don't get it. You know, well, I'm going to vote for this guy. You know, well, you were just sticking up for Donald Trump. He's a Republican. You know, I'm getting comments right now. You know, I don't understand why they just don't get it.
Well, they don't get it because they haven't done their due diligence. They're operating on opinion rather than facts. You know, it's just like that car in your driveway. If you don't own it, it ain't yours. Just that simple.
Yeah. And I try to break that down too, Governor, real quick, is that you don't own personal property technically. You rent it. You know, look up what a warranty deed really is. Look what a certificate of title is. Go do it. It's still there on the internet. You know, you don't have an origin of title to your car. You're given a certificate of title, which makes you have to do what? You know, you pay rent for it. You don't pay your taxes on it. What happens? They take it. You know, and they say, well, taxes are a good thing. That pays for the roads. That pays for the police department. How is that a good thing when you have a printing press? That's, you know, a Federal Reserve Bank that's printing the fake money.
That's income redistribution. That's socialism.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in the Constitution and under the Republic, though, real quick, Governor,
Hey, Sarah, you out there, babe?
Currency or monetary system under the Constitution?
Gold and silver.
And why is that? Can you explain that to somebody? Because they don't get that. Well, I'm not going to walk around with an ounce of gold in my pocket. They don't get that, you know?
Well, you know, I remember back in the 70s when we went off of that system. And look at what has happened to our inflation since we no longer have an asset-backed currency. Our inflation has gone through the roof. They sent printing presses to foreign governments. They sent plane loads of money on pallets to further their agendas and subsidize the enemy. If we had lawful money, then we wouldn't have the economic hardships that enslave us and keep us distracted from being able to be the people that we were destined to be.
And that was awesome what you just said right there. Are you what you can actually be today without being constrained by the confines of your government? That's not the government that we're supposed to be. We should be, you know, I mean, we're a free and open society to do as long as we don't hurt our fellow man. Like the last gentleman said, you know, you don't hurt your fellow man. You don't hurt, you know, and people don't get that. You know, well, we live in a different age today. We don't have horses and buggies, Governor. So therefore, it's a good thing that people have a driver's license. We don't want that person, you know.
You know, and unfortunately, you know, this is an information war. Let's face it. And they don't want us to know the truth because the truth sets us free. So they keep us confused. They keep us divided. The media makes up its own talking points and feeds it to us often enough and long enough that we accept it as reality because we don't know or have the time to figure out the truth.
There's no other way to put it, what you just stated right there. You're absolutely correct. The newspapers, and these people that are in control, these people who have an agenda for whatever reason, to, you know, have that brand new Porsche in their driveway or to be a part of the big club or social manipulative system, they have an agenda, you know, and they're misguided. They don't, and that's where you come in, folks. Like Mr. Carpenter here from Colorado. This is where we come in to wake you up, to show you that this is what the facts are. the facts. Whether you believe it or not, these are the facts. You can have your own opinion all you want, but it doesn't mean it's a fact. You know, it's just the way it is. It's just, you know, I just don't know any other way, Governor, the way you put it tonight for people to really fully understand what our republic system should be and what it's all about. And anyone that's out there in the patriot movement out there, real quick, Governor, if you have any advice for them out there, anyone going to Virginia or anyone that's actively involved, we do got a lot of people on the phone line tonight that are out there. They got their own YouTube stations, their own networks that they promote their you know, this freedom idea where, you know, hey, where you get all these many different people saying, hey, we don't need a monetary system at all. We should live free, happily ever after, you know, stuff like that. You know, do you have any advice for those people out there real quick?
Yes. This form of government is only good for a moral and just people that are willing to do the right thing, that are law-abiding, conscientious citizens. Do not break the law. Do not get in trouble. Do not go poke the tiger. But do not hesitate to stand up and be counted and let your voice be heard that this is unacceptable and that we're drawing a line in the sand because you don't want to see the great American people upset to the point of where we have another civil war, because nobody's going to win. Folks, we are all in this together, and we're all going to win together, or we're all going to sink together.
Yeah,
I don't know how stronger I can say it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, I agree. You're absolutely correct. We don't want to go brother against brother, sister against sister in this country, because look how close we are already. Even though we deny it every day. You know, you don't want. You know, just imagine the collapse of America. You know, and we're close to that. People just don't get that. Look at what's going on in Virginia. You know,
I can say one thing real quick, Joe. Just to interject, just for a second. Yeah, I mean, just look at Virginia, though. Okay, and what I want people to understand is that it is a very serious thing that's going on over there. But let's just think about this for 1 second. We have 51 states in America that I last recall. 51 states in America. So let's just say Virginia's one state, and you see what happened when they stood up. The ruckus that it caused. Just one state. Look at the ruckus that it's caused within our government. You know, just because one state decided, and just a few people in that one state decided to just, you know, stand up against that. Now, we have 51 states. I'm not saying that all of them is going to have that same mentality, but most of them will. So what happens is, that's just one state and a group of people in one state that have stood up against it, and you see the effect that it had. So imagine we have 51 states. Now, if they try to do that mess all over the country, you can imagine the kind of the ruckus that it would cause if just a group of people from one state can cause that much ruckus standing up to that. I just want people to think about it. It's not a lost cause yet. One group of people from one state in this country stood up against it. They're fighting against it, and it is causing the government to lose their mind. They don't know what to do right now. They're trying to figure it out, and they're kind of they're lost a little bit about it. They haven't had this before. So now imagine 51 states. They do this, and all of us, you know, I'm just saying, it's not a lost cause just yet, because one group of people in one state stood up, and it's causing that much stress and ruckus within our government just because of that. So just imagine the rest of the 51 states. I mean, you know, they don't want the problem. I'm telling you that right now. If America, they don't want the problem.
I got 6, 7, 8 here. This is my friend Mitch. This is the one I was speaking about real quick here. This is the gentleman that I really respect. He's done a lot of missionary work. A really good, great guy. He wants to come on and make a few comments real quick. So, Mitch, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mitch. You're live. Go ahead.
Thanks, Joe. No, I just wanted to say that I agree wholeheartedly with gentlemen that were just saying and speaking their minds. Yes, absolutely. And the thing is we are in the war of our lives, or the battle of our lives. The Republic is at stake, and the globalists, the international bankers, particularly the Chinese Communist Party in China, that is funded by the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, George Soros, and a lot of the reign of terror, want to destroy America Virginia is hit off because once they take the guns from America, and the Europeans don't understand this, they don't understand why we need our guns, why we need our protection, why we need our Second Amendment to protect not only our own families, but our communities. And they don't understand until they face for tyranny. And right now we are really faced with tyranny, communist-style systematic tyranny from especially the left that we've never seen, unprecedented. But we will win. We have the army, we have the militias, we have ICE, we have the NRA, we have the Navy, we have all the police, the forces. So now these Antifa terrorists and these people are going to try to take away our guns because they're CIA, or not CIA, they're actually globalist operatives. There is deep state CIA and there's Patriot CIA. There's deep state FBI and Patriot FBI. I mean, they are trying to cause a civil war. They either assassinate Trump or they will also, and this is another interesting thing, and then I probably will just listen. What they're going to do now is not only take away the guns, but destroy the American economy. So what Trump is doing is 2 or 3 steps ahead. This is my intel. He's hoarding all the gold. He's buying all the gold because he's creating another currency. Because the dollar, they're going to crash. The dollar's finished in terms of because the Federal Reserve is unconstitutional and they are totally globalist, same as the UN. So they want to destroy the economy and the currency, and then blame Trump for it, and then go to civil war. But Trump's trying to create a currency, and he will create a currency and slowly take our value. And this is the key point, that the value of the dollar, he's going to try to stabilize as best as he can in order to not, fall to the bottom through inflation or even deflation, and bring us safely onto a new currency, totally away from the globalist system of tyranny and control and the collapse of America, and start installing a communist-style system that I've been fighting against for 20 years. That's why I know you, Joe, and I'm grateful to come on your show. But yeah, God bless the Patriots, God bless America, and God bless the militia in Virginia and the law-abiding citizens in Virginia who are not going to tolerate good behavior, and they're not going to tolerate this globalist, treasonous takeover of America, and it's starting in Virginia. So I'm from Georgia. I mean, I'm South African, but I lived in Georgia in the Confederacy for 20 years, and yeah, they went to the battleground state because they know California's a wipe, New York's a wipe, Baltimore's a wipe, look at Chicago. I mean, they turn the black neighborhoods into complete ghetto fields. I mean, and that was purposely done as well. Anyway, the American people are the American people, whether you're black, green, yellow, or silver. They're coming together, and Virginians man up and mount up because call to arms and beat the quarters.
Amen, Mitch. Thank you so much, Mitch. I appreciate it. I appreciate your phone call and you listening to this podcast. And Mitch, you've been in Vietnam, you've been around the world, and you fought against communism, actually, and you stand up again. And you worked with the Prime Minister there, and former Prime Minister of Canada, David Kelleher, and the Falun Gong and organ harvesting, actually, and human trafficking. So you stood against that yourself on the front line.
Totally, and then you got the Clintons and the Obamas. I mean, Obama's fraudulent. He's a CIA operative. He's Barry from Honolulu, and Michelle Obama's a tranny. And he's actually a radical jihadist Muslim. That's why he had a lot of ties and wanted to stabilize the Middle East. And you talk to the intel guys, and they'll tell you it's all true. I mean, any FBI agents or CIA or Navy SEALs that are monitoring this call, you understand what's going on. And China's your biggest threat. Not China, but the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. I think also, my intel is also that Putin and Trump have aligned to stop globalism, this tyrannical communist globalism from China, and the big international bankers and the central bank, the Federal Reserve, George Soros, Rothschild, Rockefeller, the Bilderberg Group, the elites of the elites, not the rich. It's not problem to be rich. That's what America's about: capitalism, capitalist markets endowed by our Creator, inalienable rights to hold to our Second Amendments to protect our families, especially after King George tried to do that, and the British tried to do that to the colonials fought back, and now these liberals want to think that Christmas and Thanksgiving are racist, and that we have to we have to accept transgenderism, or you want to be an Oompa you want to be a transgender woman, whatever. I believe in male and female. That's me. I'm a believer, and that's what I believe in. But you want to do what you want to do? Great. You want to burn the flag? Go ahead, because that's what people died to protect. Your right to do. But don't force it on Americans, and don't try and confiscate their guns and try and tell them that they can't protect their families. Because when you do, Governor Northrup, you are a traitor. You are a treasonous punk, and you don't deserve to be in power. And all of those radical leftist communist sellouts that have sold America down the line, they've got to come into them. And you know what? Give them hell, Johnny Reb. Give them hell, Yankee Doodle. Give them hell, fucking Virginians, because I can tell you right now, bullshit. That's not going to work on my hatred work, and that's it. Give them hell.
Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Hey, Mitch is passionate. I trust me.
I don't advocate violence, but you stand up for your rights. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, Mitch has been there on the front lines. And trust me, he's seen evil. You just don't know this guy. I know a lot of people they'll say, oh, who's this guy calling and saying this? Let me tell you something. This guy has been in China. He's been in Vietnam, Africa. He's stood up. I mean, he's rescued children, fed families. He's been here. So he's very passionate, okay? So don't take his message the wrong way. But he's been there on the front lines. Trust me. He talks to world leaders. He's been on Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, like I said. This guy, he's very well known. He's just very passionate. That's all. So don't let him say on the front lines. Yeah. We should all be passionate, about what we believe and stand up for the Republic. God bless the Republic. God bless America. I mean, we're the last stand on earth. And he brought that message actually to another show, where he's lived where you're tagged. You're a dog. In Vietnam, you're a dog. You got no rights. We got on the phone in Vietnam and talked like we did. They would have the police at our door, and we'd be beaten, whipped, murdered, hung up, strung up, and made an example of, so it wouldn't happen again. Tell me something. Right. Isn't America great now? Well, don't you love America for what it stands for now? I mean, granted, America is not perfect. The system is corrupt. You're absolutely right. Our political system is. Our societies, we have immorality. We have all this. Look, can you name anyone out there that's perfect? That's living right now, walking. Please, we know there's going to be one in the future, the Antichrist, and, whatever you believe, but there is someone, the man of peace is going to show up. But anyway, we won't get into that aspect of the show, but I do got to wrap up the podcast. I do. Governor, you stayed on the whole podcast. I really love you for that. I appreciate that. Just closing thoughts real quick, if you want to just close out the podcast for me, I'd really appreciate it.
Joe, you there?
Thank you, Mitch, for sharing, and for the other people that have contributed their thoughts and concerns. It shows that you're thinking. I just challenge anyone that has found fault with what I've shared. Prove me wrong. Go to the facts and prove me wrong. I answer to a higher calling. I answer to my Father in heaven. I've been tasked with this education, this voice to educate and challenge people. And I'm content to stand before the final judgment when that day comes. And all I want to hear is, well done, good and faithful servants. Because my destiny depends on it. Meanwhile, folks, this is your republic. Only if you accept it. Only if you support it. This is not a bunch of rebels looking to overthrow anything. We are merely trying to save our country, to save our Constitution, and most importantly, our Bill of Rights, which protects us and gives us opportunity to have a conversation like this. Without it, as you pointed out, we could be in Vietnam and suffer those consequences. This is a world effort. The world has to have the ability to live peacefully, to have international trade, And so we're only a part of this whole world puzzle. And the world is dictating that the corrupt money handlers be taken care of. And Google it. How many people in the banking system have either died or resigned in the last 10 years? It would surprise you. 1 year alone, just a couple of years ago, there was over 600 because they saw the writing on the wall. So this is our new reality. And the worst thing that can happen to anyone of any nationality is the big surprise. And all we're trying to do is give you information, share knowledge, encourage you to get out of the box and to think for yourself and own this piece of history that is coming your way. Go to Republic for the United States of America.com or ColoradoRepublic.org. Get involved. Stand up. Do it lawfully. Do it peacefully. But stand up. If you don't, you're going to get what you deserve. Dr. Joe, thank you for allowing me to speak to the people.
Thanks. I really appreciate that, Governor. I appreciate the time. I know you got to go. You're entertaining company. You told me, but you know what? You spent the entire show pretty much. I got some other closing thoughts, but I know you got to go, Governor. So I really appreciate it. God bless you. God bless the Republic. Amen. That's right. And there's a lot of details a lot of people don't understand that cannot be told or talked about here live on the show just for security reasons. And there are people that are monitoring this call tonight. And so I want to say thank you, Governor. I appreciate it. I'll mute your line. But thank you. I appreciate it. Mark, go ahead. Mark, you want some closing thoughts? Go ahead. Mark?
Yeah, I did. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
All
I just wanted to make it clear to the American people that we've been bamboozled badly. Now, you're talking about things being fair in America. You know, the Supreme Court of the land and all the members of the Supreme Court are guilty of treason. They are owned by Brad and Dunn Street. Okay, now I'm gonna lay this out real simple. Mark A. Johnson and Albert B. Caruso versed all 88 counties of Ohio for the simple reason that it's the indictment procedure. John Dillinger, the infamous gangster, John Dillinger, remember him? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Mark. Yeah.
Okay.
You're still there.
He had two of his compadres come to the Allen.
I've got my phone lines marker just jammed, so that's why I'm just scanning the phone lines. That's all. I got 250 people here, so that's all I can hold before they shut us down. So, but go ahead.
Okay. John Dillinger had two of his cohorts from Chicago come and break him out of the Allen County Jail in Ohio, where I live. And they murdered Jess Sarber, the sheriff of Allen County, in his own jail. They escaped prosecution because the indictment wasn't signed on a capital murder case. They were released from the jail, but they were brought back and the indictment was signed. Why don't the American people get the same benefits of this hardened criminal? Coincidentally, since Allen County didn't have the death penalty back at that time, I think it was 1932, they took them to Ottawa County and fried them. But they released them on the grounds that the indictment was insufficient on its face because it was not signed by the hand of the grand jury foreman. And you will not find an indictment which is constitutionally accurate. You will not be held before a court of law unless you are presented with an indictment signed by the hand of the grand jury foreman, which you are to proceed under. All indictments are rubber stamps. It was just said in the White House when they went to proceed with this bull crap with Trump, the what do they call it? The impeachment, that it was a rubber stamped indictment and he wouldn't have to stand the impeachment proceedings. Why don't we get the same benefits as American people? I can tell you one thing, because I'm black. There wasn't 300 people or 3,000 people standing behind us to get these inherent constitutional rights done. This is why our prison system is out of control, because it's a business. Law and order went out the window long time ago. I filed this case 20 years ago, and on its face, it had standing. It got a writ of certiorari to the United States Supreme Court, and they pigeonholed it. And every damn one of them on that Supreme Court is guilty of treason against the American people. But nobody knows. And we need to make it known and get Bader. And the only one that would be free of any charges would be Kavanaugh, because he wasn't there. The rest of them are guilty of sin. Clarence Thomas and the rest are guilty because they knew what they did and they knew they were wrong. And it continues as of today. And that's why our prison system is haywire. Okay, I'm done.
All right, thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Anyone want to interject real quick with what he just had to say? Because I got 2 minutes left before they cut us off. Anybody on the floor? I see him. I'm not going to connect any private callers because I can't see your numbers. So I don't want any nonsense to ruin the podcast here tonight. I apologize, but that's just the way it's got to be. All right, I want to thank Mark. Mark, thank you. I know you got a good platform there. Thank you for bringing your people over tonight. I really appreciate that. Thanks, Mitch. Thanks, the governor from Colorado there, bringing his people over. A lot of people from the Republic were listening tonight, and the governor there. Thank you very much for listening. Monitor the call just in case things got out of hand or things were said that shouldn't have been said. Get mine back in case something happens. I appreciate it. God bless you. Let's see here. I know there was a couple over there, but I know you're long-winded, so I apologize. So you'll have to tune in to the next show. But there's so much to say. But God bless the Republic, and stand up for your rights. And Virginia tomorrow. I hope to see everyone out there. God bless the Republic. Take care.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Damn it. I didn't get to the same place on. Hey, Mark. Good job.
Hey, I was wondering.